Welcome to the meeting of the Wooddale Community Development Commission. My name is Jim Parenti. I am the chairman of the Wooddale Community Development Commission. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Tao?
Here.
Mr. Sweeney?
Here.
Mr. Guzik?
Here.
Ms. Rudnicki?
Here.
Ms. Zatko?
Here.
Mr. Peterson is absent. Chairman Parenti?
Yes. The CDC has a quorum. I need a motion to approve the minutes from April 21st, 2025.
I make the motion to approve the minutes for July 21st, 2025.
It's been a while. Can I get a second?
Today.
I'll second.
And that being a motion for the minutes of April 21st, 2025, we didn't have a meeting in June or July.
We're a little ahead of time.
Or May or June, because we're here in July.
All right, motion carries, minutes are approved. Moving on to the public hearing. Ms. Callis, as chairman, I request that you serve as a public hearing facilitator.
Certainly. My name is Sarah Callis, and I'm one of the city's attorneys, and I serve as the meeting facilitator tonight. For our public hearings, all testimony will be given under oath. At the hearing, there will be an opportunity for the public to offer testimony and to comment. Following the public hearing, the CDC's deliberations will be open to the public, in the sense that all are invited to listen and to watch. The public, however, may not speak during our deliberations. We ask that the applicants here tonight give specific evidence to demonstrate that the proposal meets the standards of approval for the request. The burden is on the applicant to prove the case. Additionally, city staff will provide a general description of the proposal, followed by their analysis. With respect to others who wish to speak this evening, you may give an opinion or present specific evidence as to why you believe that the applicant meets or fails to meet the standards for the request. Finally, we will strictly adhere to the schedule prepared for tonight's meeting. However, those wishing to submit evidence and testimony will be afforded sufficient time within which to do so. Whether you are a member of the public wishing to make a statement for the record or a witness testifying on behalf of the applicant, you will be placed under oath and then begin by stating your name and address. You will be subject to questions by the Community Development Commission and potential cross-examination by the applicant. To allow as many people as possible to be heard, we would request that your remarks be limited to 5 minutes. If additional time is needed, the hearing will be continued until the next available hearing date. Calling tonight's first matter, CDC 2025-0007. This case involves an application filed by Joseph Tulo, the property owner of 365 East Irving Park Road, for a text amendment to the permitted use table in Chapter 17 of the Municipal Code of Wooddale to add certain permitted uses to the C1 Neighborhood Commercial Zoning District, including a contractor's office, internet sales with warehouse, and printing establishment. Let's begin. Staff, please indicate when notice of the hearing was published and whether you have the certificate of publication from the newspaper.
Would you raise your right hand and state your name and address, please?
Sure. Gosha Pocheha, 404 North Wooddale Road, Wooddale, Illinois.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, the public hearing notice for tonight's public hearing was published in Daily Herald on July 3rd. We do have a certificate of publication on file.
Thank you, Goja. Does the applicant have a presentation?
Yes.
All right. Would you please stand and get sworn in?
And would you raise your right hand and state your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Marshall Subach, S-U-B-A-C-H. I'm an attorney at 1035 South York Road in Bensenville. I also reside at 168 South Central Avenue in Wooddale.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Mrs. Geppetta.
I've known him since he was a young teenager. That's why.
Correct, and she's agreed not to put any of that on the record as to what she knows about me and not knows about me, if you don't mind, Mrs. Geppetta.
Who'd have thunk, huh?
Exactly, exactly. So this is regarding, and also with me is Joseph Tulo. We'll swear him, he is going to provide testimony. Would you like to swear him in now?
Yes.
Joe, if you want to step up here and she'll swear you in.
Your name and address with your right hand, please.
My name is Joseph Tulo. I'm the owner of the building of 365 East Irving Park Road.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
So again, for the record, the petitioner is Joseph Tulo. He owns 365 East Irving Park Road in Wooddale. The property is zoned C2. It's a commercial building with a residential on top. The building was built back in 1960, back in the time when Irving Park Road was a two-lane highway, two-lane road, one in each direction, east and west. The building has an apartment on the second floor with a separate garage, and the first floor has 1,850 feet of retail space, and then 2,950 square feet of warehouse space in the back. The warehouse has a 22-foot garage door in the back as well. The property was previously occupied and rented by Earth Paint, which was a 501c3 corporation. They helped children with special needs. It was a great organization that they used to mix paint in the back of the warehouse and then sell it in retail in the front. It was a tenant for the owner for quite some time. However, they fell on hard times and were not able to keep up with the rent, so they vacated. Some of you were on the board when the City Council adopted the UDO and did a rezoning of Wooddale. Almost all the properties got rezoned. And this property at that time got rezoned to the C1 commercial district. It's one of the smaller districts that Wooddale has for zoning. And what a lot of the property owners, or all the property owners were told, which was accurate, is said, your current tenants as owners of the property, there's no issues. They can stay even though this property got rezoned and maybe that use was no longer allowed. Zoning is like a partnership, I've always said, between the municipality and the property owners and the business owners who may or may not own the property of working together. When Wooddale went through this large rezoning, I actually was here on behalf of multiple clients, testifying and arguing and trying to advocate for clients because some of the use tables that were done were a little bit thin as far as what was allowed as what's called a permitted use. A permitted use allows a applicant or a tenant that wants to come in a building, and if they're a permitted use, they apply for a business license, they apply for occupancy, and they're able to go into that space. A special use is a process that you've had in front of you for many times, I'm sure. That's a process where the occupant has to get permission from the city to go through that. Many tenants, if they find out that they have to apply for a special use, they just move on to the next community or the next town and really forego that space. So it is important of what's on this list as far as permitted uses and special uses. With that backdrop, when this was done, the C1 district didn't have a whole lot of options for permitted uses. Some of the permitted uses were like a bakery, a liquor store, general retail. This building really doesn't fit any of those. Parking is a little bit sparse, just because the way Irving Park Road has expanded. Now, luckily, the city has some parking along the street, about 10 public spaces that can be used. But the reality is, a retailer is not going to go in this space. Earth Paint was there as a retailer, but most of that was done for the back of the warehouse space. This space is unique in that he can actually have 3 separate tenants in there. You can have the residential tenant, he could have a tenant in the warehouse space, and then he could have a smaller tenant in the retail space. Since the property's been vacant, there just has not been any real activity as far as potential tenants for the space. So staff has been very gracious with their time. I think GOSHA met with my client 3 times, trying to craft a list to come up with some additional possible uses that would go in here and expand what's called by a text amendment so we can get to additional permitted use. The good thing is the C1 district is a small district, so we're not really opening the floodgates here. But what we're asking for is 3 different additions to the permitted uses of the C1 district. One of them is a contractor's office, and in reality, that's probably what's most likely to go here. You have a large warehouse space in the back with a large door. Contractor would be perfect to go in that space. We're also asking for a print shop, because that was one of the original tenants that was in the space when my client bought the building some years ago. So a print shop would seems like a good fit for that location. And then the final one is for internet sales and warehouse. Again, retail space, what do you need? You need parking, you need viability, you need exposure. You don't really have that with the parking issue here for retail space, but internet sales can do a couple things. One, it can generate sales tax for Wooddale, and you have this larger 3,000 or 2,980 warehouse space in the back that can allow for it. And that was one of the inquiries that my client did receive. So those are the 3 text amendment that we are asking for. Again, zoning should be like a compromise, and when the city council adopted the UDO, it was kind of understood that until this is adopted and put in place, you really won't know the effects of it. The reality is the consultants that came in, and it was nothing that staff did wrong, they didn't look at every building along every zoning change to see did the zoning fit it. In fact, Gosha's memo does a great job. Part of the C1 district is all 3 flats. So none of those actually fall under the permitted uses of the C1 district. They're grandfathered in, but they're not actually uses that are allowed under the C1 district. So this is a chance for the city to kind of expand this a little bit and work with a current property owner. The city has made zoning concessions for the Nippons of the world. These larger industrial tenants have come in and gotten lots of concessions. But I always say it's the Main Street Wooddale that really we have to make sure we keep vital. There are a lot of vacancies along Wooddale Road or Irving Park Road, and vacancies are not good. Back in the day, Mr. Geppetto's son and I would have been hanging out in the back of this building if it was vacant. We don't want that. We want properties to be occupied and vibrant. The request for the city, for the zoning change, for the amendment for the additional uses is consistent with the comprehensive plan, and it's also consistent with the plan of the UDO that is supposed to embrace the current property owners and make zoning as flexible as possible to keep these occupancies. So with that small introduction, quick, I'd like my client just to discuss with you a little bit about the property and about some of the inquiries that he has received, okay?
Good evening. I'm up here because everything that Marshall has highlighted is very true. I've owned the building for a long time, and to have this building sitting empty for as long as it's had, it does not create a good look for the city, for Wooddale, and for the Irving Park corridor. And I am trying to cooperate. I thank Gosha and Stacy for the time that they've given me, and we've collaborated and brainstormed and really thought out try to get a comprehensive plan. And these 3 things are what we came up for. I want to see this building occupied. I've already had some vandalism, dumped furniture in the back of the building. Empty properties are not a positive, okay? And if they break in or whatever, it scares me to do that. So I am trying to see this building. Remember what Marshall has said. This building was built in the 60s, and there was 3 add-ons. The backspace, it was originally, matter of fact, in the front of the building, and the window treatments there are wrought iron, and the guy had a wrought iron manufacturing. And remember, you know, at that time, there was plenty of parking in there because Irving Park Road was a 2-lane highway. So now, the multiple uses that we have had for this, I am looking for a good fit. Life is all about fit, okay? And not every building as like Marshall has articulated to you, that it comes down to fit for this building. And I don't want to see this become a round peg in a square hole, which because of the zoning, it is that way. So I think that if we look at that, if you are not familiar with the property, I want to get as good as possible, because a lot of times I have rented it, not because they are quality, great tenants, because out of desperation, okay? And get some people that aren't actually great tenants that can make a successful business go. I want to see and cooperate. I know Wooddale has a grand vision for Irving Park Road, and hopefully with the properties that will be across the street from me and down the street from me, they will continue to improve. So if you could go.
There's a little clicker.
Is the,
Sorry. I can give you the
Where's
keyboard,
the-
that's easier.
all I want to do is just, there's only 3 slides, so. Right there, okay. Yeah, here's a picture of the building, side view, okay? And there's a garage on that side. There's parking in the front, and the garage is 2-car deep for the tenants, so they don't need to use those spaces, okay? It's from there. This is the back of the building, okay? And it's goes all the way back to the alley, so there's plenty of room for parking. Earth Paint had 2 box trucks parked back there. I don't, he had some parked in the front, and I don't know what the code was on that or whatever, but whatever tenant comes in, I assure you, we want to make sure that it's compliant with parking regulations. There is plenty of room, as you can see, the garage door in the back of the building to park cars inside, and contractors find it desirable not to have trucks that have expensive equipment and things like that where they could park inside, store their equipment for. I have had inquiries, the best one that I've had, and they left and went to Elk Grove or Itasca or some other place, but he imported olive oil from the Middle East somewhere, and he said it was the best, better than any Italian or Greek olive oil you could possibly get, and he sold it on the internet. And he wanted to store it back there and have trucks and go from there. So that was one example of the internet sales that I had a possibility as a potential tenant. They left, and they are not going to wait around for a 3-month hearing for a special use. It's not reality. And tenants are hard to find. Villages compete, Elk Grove, Addison, Itasca, all of the places that are here are all competing for quality tenants, rather than have, empty properties that create a bad image for the community. So those are some of the things that I'm looking at as far as potential. And like when I bought the building, it was an extensive print shop at one time, and which is a perfect use for it, and now it's not zoned that way. So again, I am trying to cooperate. I want your cooperation in the cities. I want to make sure that we have a good fit, because in life, good fits, whether it's a college, a job, and a building, certain buildings have to have the right fit and the right tenant that could stay there and be a positive impact on the community, for a long time. So I'm asking for help and with these small changes. Okay? Thank you for your attention. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I didn't finish my slide here. This is the inside of the building. It's been completely remodeled, painted, and taken care of. If anyone had seen what Earth Paint had done, it's 100% better. This is the back. It's sectioned off. It can be one big warehouse. There's a temporary wall in the back there. That's a picture of the 12-foot garage door there. And then this is another section of the back warehouse. Both of the ceilings are around 20 feet high. Earth Paint one time had 91,000 gallons of paint in there. Wow. So it is a storage area that's very valuable to a lot of businesses. Okay. And again, the picture of the building. building. Again, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Joe. So as the staff memo provides, there's no real standards for a text amendment, but we do meet the comprehensive plan goals and the goals of the UDO. Staff did give, I would say, a recommendation as to approval. So we're asking for the text amendment to allow for contractor's office, internet sales with warehouse, and printing establishments in the C1 district, and answer any questions you may have. Thank you for your time.
Okay, does any member of the Community Development Commission have any questions?
Yes, yeah. As far as the residents above, is there any limitations that they're going to have to deal with a new occupant downstairs?
As far as what?
Parking?
No, they park in, they have a garage.
Yes,
Okay.
two-car garage.
Two-car
Yes,
garage.
two-car gate.
Visitors coming to see them, are they able to park
When
there?
businesses aren't open, they've always parked in front. My son lived in the apartment for many years, okay? And he never really had a problem with that, and people are working during the day. The current tenant has one car, that's it, and he works all day long, and that's it. So it's usually, now, obviously, noise and things like that, it's, even with everything, never had any complaints about it at all.
And are you looking to, at worst case, one occupant downstairs? And possibly two if you split the warehouse with the front office?
Correct. In a perfect scenario, in my opinion, one tenant would be the best way to go. But reality, I have, like I've told some of the aldermen and some of the other people, I have no control who wants to rent the building. None whatsoever in what they want. I had numerous inquiries and I had to shut them down because I said this just will not fly. But if, in my opinion, the best usage of that building would be one tenant, front and back. But if I can get a contractor for the back and a flower shop in the front or something like that, that doesn't require a lot of things. One of the things that is unnoticed there, next to the liquor store, there's 13 spaces of parking from the city of Wooddale right there. Okay, so that's one of the things that I thought was very attractive. Plus, in the back, there's a lot of parking space there's in the back there, and the tenants could use it or for the apartment or whatever. So it's really not been a problem in the past.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody else have a question?
How long has the property been vacant?
Almost going on 17 months. I have not had anyone, it took Earth Paint to clean up the facility a long time, and it was not fun, and so I have gone through a lot of hardship and, working with them to get that, and it's in great shape right now. As you can see from the pictures, fully painted. If I get a quality tenant, I would like to do some more to the outside of the building and take advantage of some of the Wooddale's proposals for TIF money, things like that. And if I could do that, and any improvements that I could make.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. So what we're going to do next is get staff to provide their comment on this, and then we'll allow the public to ask questions.
Thank you. Just to sum up, the request in front of the CDC committee tonight is a request for a text amendment, more specifically the table of permitted uses, which is within our Chapter 17, our Unified Development Ordinance. Currently, there are uses that are listed in various zoning districts, and the applicant, who is a property owner of a property within the C1 subject district, is seeking to allow the three specific uses in the C1 zoning district. So just to emphasize, there are no brand-new uses being proposed. These are already existing in other zoning districts. She's just seeking to allow them in the C1 zoning district. And those uses are, as was mentioned before, contractor's office, internet sales with warehouse, and then printing establishment. I will also say that over the last couple of years, we've had a number of requests for text amendments from individual property owners, but usually there was a specific tenant lined up. So we've had instances, just a couple months ago, there was a request for a text amendment to allow a recycling center, and then the tenant actually requested a special use at the same time. So this is a bit of an unusual request because it will allow additional uses in the district, but there isn't anyone waiting for this to actually be able to move in, although the applicant has stated that he's had multiple inquiries in the past. A little bit about the C1 zoning district. So as mentioned during the prior presentation, this property was in fact rezoned. The prior zoning was C2, which was a little bit more of a corridor zoning. In the rewrite of our Unified Development Ordinance in 2022, it was suggested that that entire section of properties on the east side of Irving Park Road to be rezoned to C1, mainly due to the smaller size of the lot. So that was really the driving force, because those lots are a lot smaller. Most tenants that move in there are only able, smaller businesses, they don't need a lot of parking and so on. So that is the reason why it is C1 right now. So the C1 is a neighborhood commercial district. It provides and maintains small-scale shopping and retail services for people who live and work in the area. And it's really a mix of businesses. It has office, some governmental, and there are some residential uses. So that is sort of like the existing zoning use. This is a zoning map, and the areas that are highlighted in blue show the C1 zoning district. So we are located here on the far east side of town, on the north side of Irving Park Road. Our city hall is actually also zoned C1, so there is a few more properties around here. I do want to note most of these are either owned by the Park District or by the city, and the properties that are here along the train tracks will be home to our future community park. So that use is really its own entity. It's quite possible we will be bringing a proposal before CDC in the next few months to possibly rezone that area, just because it will function specifically as a park. There are a few other properties that are in Irving Park Road, and these are actually residential. There's a community center back here, so the only other commercial property that is within the C1 zoning district is over here. It's on Addison Road, and it's really like a shopping center slash commercial center. There's some, I believe, a daycare, some offices, professional services, and so on. So I wanted to highlight these because the uses that are being proposed right now would then in fact be allowed in any of these zoning districts. So we want to take a look at where they're located, what's the proximity to residential, what could be the effect on this particular zoning district and the adjoining ones. The table of permitted uses, as was noted, so C1 zoning district really focuses mainly around retail and restaurant and services. The applicant is proposing to expand the permitted uses in the C1. So these are the uses permitted by right. So a business could come in and they would just have to apply for a commercial occupancy certificate and making sure that, you know, they meet all the life safety and parking requirements, they are able to operate in there. We do want to point out that 2 of the 3 proposed uses are currently only permitted in the C3 zoning district. So while it is in the table of permitted uses, it's really only one other district that allows them. It's the internet sales with warehouse and the printing establishments. C3 zoning district, where they are permitted, is a little bit different in a way. It's along Potter. It's almost like its own animal. It's very specific. There's a little bit heavier properties, heavier uses on the north side of Potter, but then we have a residential on the south side. So once again, we just want to make sure that CDC considers how these proposed uses would affect the subject district and the surrounding districts as well. A little bit more about the uses themselves. The contractor's office, this is the one that you can see in a lot of other zoning districts. So we have the C2, C2A, C3, the I1s, the industrial districts, and the overlays. It actually is allowed as a special use in the TCB zoning district. Mainly, TCB is more of like a downtown area, so it was noted that if a contractor wanted to set up in there, City Council wants to have a little bit more oversight. The main reason is, in a lot of cases, contractors come with those warehouses and trucks moving in and out, and City Council wanted to make sure that in fact that is the best use for a property within the town center business district. The contractor's office is essentially a contractor's office. The idea is that they're going to run their office out of this space, and then they could use the warehouse for storage of materials and vehicles and so on, but they will not perform services right there on site. They go off-site to actually perform their work at the customer's location. Internet sales with warehouse is a newer use. This was just added specifically for the C3 zoning district when we were rewriting the code. I think this was actually maybe one of the code uses that was requested by the property owners in the zoning district. We do not have a definition in our UDO, but the Webster's Dictionary, which is our backup, if a particular use is not defined in our UDO, we go to the Webster's Dictionary. It is defined as a dedicated facility designed to store and manage inventory for online businesses. So essentially, a warehouse that ships goods. So they run their operation, their retail operation online, so there's not a lot of customers coming to the store. In this particular district, I will note that because retail is already permitted, someone could in fact have a retail operation in the front and then internet sales with a warehouse in the back. It could be one business, could be two separate businesses, but that's how it could function. This is a use that is only permitted in the C3 zoning district right now. And then I have the parking requirements in there, but those are very similar to the existing retail operation that's in there. And then lastly, we have printing establishments. This is also a use that's only in the C3 zoning district. This particular use was in our UDO previously, but we just don't have a lot of these printing establishments around. This probably was a little bit of an older use, and as we learned, the building previously, years ago, was occupied by a printing establishment. So this is a business or shop where printing services are offered. This is a Webster Dictionary as well. We don't have it defined in the UDO. So that's sort of a summary of all of the zoning district, the proposed uses in a little bit more detail. The applicant is seeking to make them permitted uses. In terms of the public comment, we were required to publish a notice in the Daily Herald. We did not receive any comments or questions regarding this petition. As it was mentioned, there are no requirements in our UDO to adopt findings of fact for text amendments, but we always want to make sure that they are in conformance with the rest of the UDO, with the zoning district, and with the comprehensive plan. So that was all outlined in the memo, and it does meet the criteria of the comprehensive plan, and it does meet some of the goals, or has potential to benefit. So if the CDC wishes to recommend approval to the City Council, the draft motion was prepared in the staff memo. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Gosia. Does any member of the CDC have any questions for staff?
Yes. I'm sure you've racked your brains as far as other business types that might also fit under this. Would it do the city good to add them at the same time that you're adding these three? I didn't see in the list, and it might be that it fits under some other category, like a job finder or headhunter office, which would be an ideal for that situation. I didn't see them in the list.
We don't, so that would be a professional office.
Okay.
So we did meet with the applicant a couple of times, and we actually encouraged the applicant to narrow down the request. So these are the requests from the applicant that, probably have the greater chance of being approved. So as we say, we don't vote as staff, so it is up to City Council and CDC's recommendation. A headhunter and so on, that probably would fall under professional services, so that is already a permitted use in the zoning district, so absolutely yes.
Does anyone else have any questions for staff? Okay. Marshall, did you want to speak again?
A headhunter, that'd be a fantastic, or that'd be a great place to go. I hope you guys got a chance to look at the list, and you got to put yourself in the shoes of the property owner. When I look at this list of the C1 of permitted uses, it's an art studio, I believe, bakery, a bank or financial institution. Bank or financial institution is not going there. A bakery is not going there.
No.
That's just the reality. Home garden center, a grocery store, indoor retail sales, a liquor store, a medical or dental clinic. These are just not uses that are going to go to that building. And it's nothing that staff did wrong, nothing that the city council did wrong, or this board. It's just when you rezone, you don't find these things out. They don't look at each individual building. So it's I call it the cleanup after the change of the zoning that, hey, these seems reasonable. I think these requests, if you look at them and think about the property owner, this is his retirement, this is his investment. If you own this building, what would you think would go there? And that's the easiest way to reconcile these things. You're not going to open the floodgates. Ultimately, it's the city council's decision, but you guys are an important recommending body for these public hearings to make these decisions. So, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, so now we will open up the floor to questions of the public or any comments that the public may have on the proposed text amendments. Is there anybody who would care to speak? Okay. Having no additional testimony, do we have a motion to close the public hearing in case number CDC 2025-0007? And anyone can say so moved.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We will do a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Guzik.
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney.
Yes.
Mr. Tao.
Yes.
Ms. Zadko.
Yes.
Ms. Rudnicki.
Yes.
And Chairman Parenti.
Yes.
Okay, so the public hearing portion is closed with a unanimous vote of the 6 members present, and we are now entering the portion where the CDC deliberates. Proceeding into deliberation on the merits of this request, does any CDC member have any statements or comments that they wish to make at this time? Okay, there being no discussion, I am looking for a motion. Based on the submitted petition and the testimony presented, the proposed text amendment to the table of permitted uses in the city's Unified Development Ordinance or Code to add contractor's office, internet sales with warehouse, and printing establishment as permitted uses to the C1 Neighborhood Commercial Zoning District is consistent with the Unified Development Ordinance and the Comprehensive Plan. And therefore, I move that the Community Development Commission adopt the findings included with the staff memo dated July 21st, 2025, as the findings of the Community Development Commission and recommend to the City Council approval of the text amendment to the table of permitted uses in the Unified Development Code to allow contractor's office, internet sales with warehouse, and printing establishment as permitted uses to the C1 Neighborhood Commercial Zoning District in case number CDC 2025-0007. Do we have that motion? And anyone can say so moved.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Second.
Mr. Parenti?
No, it was me. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
And is there any further discussion?
Motion carried.
Okay. Roll call, please. Can we do a roll call on the,
Yes. Mr. Guzik.
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney.
Yes.
Mr. Tao.
Yes.
Ms. Zadko.
Yes.
Ms. Rudnicki and Mr. Parenti.
Yes.
Motion carries.
okay. As the secretary has mentioned, the motion has carried and passes. Mr. Chairman, that concludes tonight's hearing. I cede the floor back to you.
Is there any report from staff, Osha?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to note for the applicant, this petition will move on to the PZB committee on September 11th, and then City Council on September 18th. But we'll be in contact.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
I need a motion.
Oh, I have some updates. If you like, I have some updates.
Go ahead.
Just to begin, I wanted to welcome, I know some of you have already met Ryan, but we do have a new assistant director, Ryan Adriatico.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm always terrible with names, but yeah, Ryan joined us in May, and he's been working in our department, so we're finally fully staffed, so we're very excited to have him join us. Thank you. And I also, thank you. There you go. I do want to say, although this probably will be Manny's last meeting, we have Manny with us. Manny's our intern, and he's with us for another month? Give or take. Give or take, one more month. So he's been with us in the summer. He's been very helpful. So we're very excited to have everyone in our department. I wanted to take just a couple minutes because we haven't had a meeting in a couple months, just to briefly run through some of the projects that you've seen before, just to kind of give you an update of where we are in terms of development updates. So the very first one on the line is the Bryn Mawr Phase 2. So that was the very first project for Cyrus One. You may recall there's 2 data centers. So the building number 1 is under construction. They pulled permits months ago, and this one, if you drive down Route 83 or Bryn Mawr, you will see the construction in there. So it's fairly significant, and they're moving forward very quickly. Bryn Mawr Phase 3, which is the second phase for Cyrus One, this project went through the zoning entitlement process at the end of last year, got approved by City Council in January of 2025. This was supposed to be a 4 data center campus that was directly to the south of the first 2 buildings for Cyrus One. They've actually recently resubmitted a revised site plan. They were working with various tenants, and they're trying to meet their needs, and that triggered the need for change. So an amendment to their approved planning and development. So probably in a couple months, most likely, a petition will either go back to City Council or go to CDC, depending on the approvals that are needed. My microphone isn't working. So this is just to let you know, that one is a little bit further in terms of construction. The Northwood Station, so we finally have a name, the apartment building that is directly to the south of City Hall by Holiday. This actually went through zoning entitlement process last year as well. Northwood Station is the official name of the apartment buildings. They applied for permits a couple months ago, maybe a month ago. I know it's moving very fast, and we're hoping to get the permits issued probably the next few weeks or so, and hoping for a groundbreaking in September. So that's very exciting. The 344 Benor, as I mentioned quickly, this is the recycling center. This is on Benor. Obviously, it's the Soto scrap metals relocating from the property on Potter to Benores. They just recently closed on the property. I just got a call from the broker this week. So now they're going to be moving forward with getting their commercial occupancy certificates. You may recall there were a couple conditions that were talked about. It's the fact that you have to plant more trees and add accessible parking spaces. Those were written into the approval ordinance, so they will have to abide to those before we can give them their commercial occupancy certificate, their business license. So that one hopefully will be moving shortly as well. And then the community landmark sign. So this petition went through CDC earlier this year. In June, they did receive approval from City Council. This was a number of things where the property was rezoned, there was a text amendment and so on. So the last we heard is the applicant is working with the state of Illinois, IDOT, to obtain permitting for the sign itself, and then they will be submitted to the city for the permit. So that's a quick snapshot of some of the prior.
What's going on with the water tower?
The water tower was approved. So it went through CDC, recommended approval. It went to City Council and was approved. However, one of the aldermen called for reconsideration. So maybe a month or after, maybe a couple months, it went back to City Council for reconsideration and was approved. So that project will be moving forward. I don't have the specific dates from the Public Works Director yet, but I know they did say there's a pretty far lead time for the materials. So they'll be going through the permitting process, but that was approved. But good question, thank you.
And what about Marinos?
Marinos approved, permits are ready to go.
Good.
We're waiting for them to essentially come and pick up the permits and start construction. So we're very hopeful. We've been in communication with them to schedule the groundbreaking and ceremony and so on. So we're very
good.
hopeful. A lot of cool projects. So we're excited. Perfect.
Okay, well, thank you,
Thank you.
Gosia. That was very informational.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay. I need a motion to adjourn. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
There be a motion and a second. I favor by signify, so by saying yes?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. The meeting's adjourned.